Good morning. This morning I am going to be working on a scrapbook recipe book, a recipe album, and this is for a special somebody in my life. When the kids turn 10 in this family, I make them a recipe book, and I try to incorporate as many recipes as I can from the family so that they can be passed along, and I want those memories to be special. The cool thing is that this year, one of my nieces is turning 10, so if mommy and daddy are listening, please do not let her watch this. This is supposed to be a surprise for her birthday next month. But this is the coolest set. So I did not get the entire set, which is the thin cuts too, because really only the thin cuts come out with this really, it's a very nice square or rectangle thin cut for your recipe card. It has a nice design on it. I just didn't feel like it was necessary for me. So here's the cool, let me put it on a white background so you guys can fully see this. It has really nice little lines. This is great for journaling if you do a lot of journaling on your own, for any of your scrapbooks, but it also has recipe. It has like the cups, the teaspoons, mix, prep time. My rating has what it is, a vegetarian, dairy-free, whatever. Here's the categories: holiday, cook temp, from the kitchen of, which I do add, and then, you know, salad, all kinds. Look at all these. These are all like the main dishes and salad, beverage. There's so many different categories there. Ingredients is listed right here. I've used this so it's a little harder to see. Directions. Let's see if I can get this to focus. So directions, cook time, serves. So all your information is right here, which is really handy. So today I'm going to be making some recipe cards. I'm going to show you some of the tips that I've come up with using this set. This is one of my worries, is that this particular album was going to look like Barney the dinosaur. When I was growing up, that was kind of a big thing. Gosh, it's just not focusing. I wonder where it is focusing. Okay, not where I am. There we go. So these are the colors I'm using for this scrapbook: grape, black, avocado, and I was thinking about toffee for these, but I want to play with these three colors first and leave toffee out, because these are the three main colors of the scrapbook. And by adding the black in there, it kind of neutralizes it so that you don't have Barney screaming at you. So I am going to cut this down. So my recipe cards are 4x6s. I'm going to cut this down in half, so 5.5 by 4.25. I'm actually going to do 3.5, because I already did 5.5. I'm going to come down to 3.5. This way I have a nice little insert for my recipe card. I already have a couple of them made, and I may change them. So here's what this is where the black comes in. It's actually a pretty bold black, and these ones I used a bigger frame, so maybe I should stick with the bigger frame on those. So let's recut. Let's see. Part of this was 5.5, yeah. So, but not 6. 5 3/4. So let's just do. We're just going to do one at a time, because yeah, I cut a 8.5 by 11, which is not bad because it doesn't really matter now. And I'm going to do 3 3/4 because that's 1/4 inch off. And it looks like I left 1/8 of an inch on these ones. So 1/8 of an inch on either side, which is typical for me. And then this way it gives me more space to write. And these are all going to be handwritten. So, but I want to show you some of the things that I do and don't. So I actually have scraps. Let's see if that one for what I do want. So these lines, you got to remember that you want your text to be the boldest text. And when you do black on these, I'll show you, because I did this and then I started writing, and my husband even said something. He's like, wow, you kind of go cross-eyed, don't you? I was like, oh, yeah, I guess you do. So, and unfortunately you have to use the big, huge, massive block for this one because it is such a big area. And I say unfortunately, and that's because my hands don't really fit this big block very well. So they fit it, just not wonderfully. Okay, so I'm going to actually stamp this little guy, this little scrap paper here with the black, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay. And that wasn't bold enough. And I always try to leave a little bit at the top so that I can put like the recipe, that kind of stuff. Okay, that's bold enough in most places. And you know what, I didn't wet my chamois at all. So I'll have to do that here soon so that I can mix colors, do different colors. Okay, but let me show you what I mean by this. Hopefully I have my pen. Wouldn't that be something? Here's a black ink pen. Okay. So if I just start writing on here, this one is actually not that bad because this is a really thin pen. It's actually a architectural pen. Even if I use like a blue, something a bit bolder, when you actually get a lot of words in here, it will become really distracting with that bold, bold black. So I'm going to go wet my chamois so I can actually clean that stamp off. And I'm going to play with the grape and the avocado. And I think I'm going to do first and second generation, see what I like better. I'll be right back. Okay, my chamois is wet. I'm going to just clean this off. If you don't have a chamois, I really recommend them. I used to use baby wipes, and the fuzz just goes everywhere. And believe me, I have a surplus of baby wipes, but they do leave little fuzz dots everywhere. Okay, so I've already used that side. Let's try one of these other. So I'm going to try a first generation and a second generation. I don't know why I peeled that off the block because I'm still using it. Okay. And with these big stamps, if you put firm pressure with your hand, the palm of your hand, and kind of slide it across, it'll do a little bit better. Because it is such, I should have just done second generation right after that, huh? Oh well. We will just use this one for my second generation. And then put it right on there. I think the purple was a little bit too bold like the black. And again, you guys are just playing with this stamp with me. That's really all we're doing. Seeing what works better. Now that would work pretty well. It's pretty light. but it gives me a line to write on. I kind of like that because it'll go with my color scheme. So I'm going to put that up there because I do like that one. Avocado, I may not have to do second generation. We're going to do second generation, but it may be light enough that I don't have to. And what I can do is have the purple cards have avocado ink, and the green cards have grape ink. That's first generation. Let's do second generation back here. I learned so that one's really, really light. There's this one. It's quite bold. I don't think it's going to be too distracting though, first generation. But second generation is definitely really subdued. I don't like it. So maybe we do second generation on both. I don't know. It's not that bad. I kind of like just the grape though. Maybe we just stick with grape. That'd be grape. I think it's kind of ironic that I'm using grape and avocado on a scrapbook recipe book. A lot of our names though are foods, like raspberry and candy apple. See, how many are there? There are a lot, aren't there? Mulberry, papaya, melon. Get the hint. Rosemary, sage. I'm going to just do that first. Now this is my real recipe card. And I'm going to do exactly what I did before, was stamp first generation. And I don't really care about this. This is going to be glued. But I do care because I want the second generation back here. And I'm going to put the bottom line down at the bottom and line it up down there. And this will give me a whole room up at the top to put the word recipe. Down at the bottom, I will put, on the back side, I will put from the kitchen of. So this is really light, you can barely even see it. And I think that'll be really nice for writing on because I can see it, but it doesn't necessarily get in my way of reading my recipe. So, just to show you kind of what it's going to look like, let me take one of these recipe cards out that I've already made. Maybe we just stamp it. You have to trim that one just a touch. Sometimes they can fit pretty tightly because they're double-sided. So that's what it's going to look like. And then once I get writing on it, it'll be even snazzier. But let's go ahead and put the writing on. So I'm going to just use my 2x2, I think, for this recipe word. I'm going to do it in grape. I'm going to keep this consistent. And maybe I do it like this, where purple will go in purple, the grape will go in the grape, avocado will go in avocado. Make sure you put your stamp on the correct way. And I usually plop it down on my non-stick mat so that I can pick it up without any curves. And I think I'm going to put it off to the side because then that way I can write the actual recipe next to it. Right? So there's that one. Looks pretty nice. And maybe I start classifying it at the bottom. So I don't know what else I would use. I'm trying to think of what I would use, but I think without the recipe on there, I don't know what I want yet. So let's actually, I will save that for another recipe card, but let's actually make one for this one. Let's go ahead and stamp this. And at this point, I kind of need a scrap piece of paper. Just use this one. Because I do want that second generation. Oh, no. Not the time to drop your stamp, yeah? So I don't like the big block. Big block isn't really, maybe it did okay. It did okay. We'll leave it. My words and such will probably cover up my mess. We'll just do the other one, the other side. So again, second gen. And I really recommend playing with your recipe cards and writing on one. If you want to try the black ink, you can. With my thinner markers, my thinner pens, it wasn't that big of a deal. But I used the journaling pen that we sell in our catalog, and it made a huge mess. It just looked really horrible. That'll look really nice when it's all done. Okay, so on the front, I'm going to put recipe. Again, flop it down so that it's nice and straight. Nice and bold. Do like this color for this album anyway. And then I'm going to put From the Kitchen Of on the back. And I do that so that they make sure that they know which family member this came from, whether it's my mother-in-law, or if it's me, or if it's one of their aunties. One of their aunties bakes a lot. Whether it's their parents, that kind of stuff. So I'm going to put From the Kitchen Of. I've requested all the recipes already because I've already made 2 of them. So I already have some recipes. But this way they know who it's coming from. And then I'm going to handwrite the cards, unless the individuals want to. So it's in their own writing, but I think most of them want me to do it. So From the Kitchen Of, and I can put Auntie Dawn or Auntie Nikki, something like that, or Mom and Dad, and then write the recipe. I usually put ingredients on the front, so I'm going to just finish this up and show you how I would typically do a recipe card. Let's get my ingredients. So I do ingredients on the front and the directions on the back. Now, if I mess up, then I'm taping a piece of paper on top, right? It's inevitable, really. Better put it the correct way, where it's not upside down. Ingredients. And I've used this enough for the ingredients. Actually looks really good. These are bold backgrounds. They're filled in backgrounds. So make sure you use them a little bit before you actually try to do it on your papers, because sometimes the bolder backgrounds don't like to show up the writing as well. That one did just fine. Another trick is putting another mat underneath, another foam. That way you have a double foam. Directions. Okay, so that's looking good. So all my directions will go in there. And then from the kitchen of. So that's how you do a basic recipe card, or how I am with this new stamp set. It's really cute and really fun. It'd be really fun with the little cookies, especially with the PMLs that go with this collection. This is the freshly baked collection. But I love it. It's so fun. It's perfect for recipe books, which I am kind of in the midst of doing, like 3 or 4 of them actually. One for me that I can pass down to my kids, which I may have to make 2, but you know how that goes. So, all right, you guys have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you next time. Bye.